and On My Way to the Apocalypse. Available at the front for me to sign after the show. I'd be happy to. And this is an excerpt from my book, On My Way to the Apocalypse. It was December 21st, 2012. I was on my way to the apocalypse, minding my own business, when a funny thing happened. Scotty beamed me up. A Mayan madman jumped out in front of me and shouted, "Fooled ya!" Meanwhile, topside, a bluebird started singing, loudly, madly, badly, out of tune, off key, while a monarch butterfly spiraled around me and a fairy danced up a blade of grass. At last, 100% of us became 100%ers. I had this all planned out. Then I remembered everything is an illusion. We are on the holodeck and the safeties are off. Harp is not a musical instrument, I found out. And I discovered that beer is the 8th food group and chocolate the 7th. I spun around, lost in the surging insanity of other people looking for the apocalypse. I decided to do what I usually do. I wrote a short poem. Dying on the trip to nowhere. Oh, but the trip to everywhere leaves you breathless. Ruminating in the delusional crush, I decided to write a longer poem. And smiled, Yoda did, because the force with me was. Knowing there's no ending, only the beginning of the start of the beginning again, an endless chain of recursive events. And as I counted the angels dancing on the head of a pin, I heard a voice calling my name, and green fire burst out my ass. The building storm finally broke. Silver hair trickled through my hair, down my nose, drenched my clothes. The apocalypse will not be televised. We're all on a speeding bullet train, headed straight to our own demise. From first breath, we are on our way to the apocalypse. You think you've got all the time in the world, but when it comes to the wire, bam! The apocalypse, shattered dust, and you've been asleep your whole life. It was then that I realized someone has a wicked sense of humor. I'm not saying who, just someone. In other news, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa were playing Texas Hold'em, winner takes all. I saw a fleet of flying monkeys racing to catch flying pigs and heard an eerie chuckle. Yes, my pretty, that's the one. Oh, so you heard it too. So I clicked my heels together 3 times. Note to self, the apocalypse requires shoes. Uh-oh. Because there's never been anywhere like home, even in black and white, with the old man disappearing into the woods. Down the road, I met my one true love, went to Vega and got married. But that's all I can tell, because what happens on Vega stays on Vega, baby. In the background, I heard Nero fiddling while the city burned. Good things happened, though. I found Nemo, who promptly suggested we party like it's 1999. 'Twas Brillig and the Slyly Tobes. Lewis Carroll recited from Jabberwocky to an open mic audience emceed by Lady Death. I know this because when I passed her the salt, she flashed her tattoo and winked at me. I floated up to say hello to the Easter Bunny, who gave his regards to Harvey, the invisible 6-foot rabbit. I saw Elvis arguing with Michael Jackson over kingship. Sasquatch was there too, watching from the grassy knoll. I was inspired, so I became the 100th monkey flyer and tipped the balance of the infinite scale. But when I picked up my tools, I lost my ticket to the big show. I was thirsty. Who wouldn't be after all this? So I stopped in at the Fairview Inn for a beer, where the odds are good, but the goods are odd. And while engaged in a reverie of sorts, the apocalypse rolled on merrily without me. As I dozed off, a cat purred on my feet. Suddenly, my toes were wet. Thinking nothing of it, I shooed the cat off my feet. Then I felt something crawling up my leg, a newborn kitten. So I whistled a happy tune. I mean, after all, the apocalypse would not be televised, so how could it be real? I ate green eggs and ham. I danced with the stars. E.T. phoned home. And even though I won American Idol, I was still voted off the island. I stood on the shore. I watched my ship come in, but the tide was out. And Neo explained, it's not the red pill or the blue pill. It's the new, improved, super purple pill. The rabbit hole was deep and I just kept going, but then things got a little crazy. Someone had dropped LSD in my survival drinking water, but I knew I'd be safe because I happened to have handy my gas mask, bought for 25 cents at a yard sale, and my baseball bat. I am prepared. I discovered it wasn't a dream. I discovered it was a dream. I realized the church was right. I realized the church was wrong. Just in time for refreshments, the Mad Hatter invited me to a tea party. And for a pause that really refreshes, I was doing my business when the outhouse started to shake. Was it an earthquake, a bear, hallucinations, or had the apocalypse just caught up with me? No, the outhouse fell into the hole. Holy shit. The key is no matter where you go, there you are. So where was I at? I took a breath. I took another breath. I tried to remember how to breathe. I heard a loud noise and then I felt the breeze. And I realized it wasn't the end of the world after all. Okay, I'm over here a little bit in the shadow, but I think you guys can handle it. This is the start of my drum pieces. This is Big Mama, which is another award winner. So I'm kind of proud of that. What can I say? Big Mama. She do shake, rattle, and roll. She sing the blues, the browns, the greens, the reds, the spectacular oranges and pinks. She'd be so pretty. When Big Mama laughed, the nectar roll between her legs. Her womb be gentle like the ocean. Her passion be wild like the storm. Her anger be purple like earthquake and volcano. Her tears taste like rain. I sit in her lap. She be my Big Mama. You sit in her lap. She be your Big Mama. She be whole world Big Mama, 'cause her lap be big enough for us all. Like I said, that was the start of the drum pieces, so I'm going to call Dennis Ramsey up. Let's give him a hand. All right. And we're going to take a little walk. A Tibetan walk to nowhere is 4 steps forward and 4 steps back. Well, you can't do that here, but I'm going to encourage y'all to get up and kind of walk in place, because I'm going to take you on a little trance journey. And when you imagine that you're spiraling in, and when you reach the point in the poem where I say the word balance, we're going to spiral back out. And it's a little trance piece, and it's called Sha Woman because I'm not a shaman. Become iridescent flame. Okay. Thank you. This worked to this piece. So this piece is called, next piece is called The Blue Moon Turtle Grandmother Speaks. I was drumming on the beach in Fort Lauderdale with a friend of mine, and it was the Waisak moon, which is also known as the Buddha moon, and it was a blue moon month. You know, that's when we have 2 full moons in a month. And we saw the sea turtle come up onto the beach and lay her eggs, you know, do the whole scooping out the sand. She must have been about as close as you guys are to me. And she kind of was staring at us, and we were just, wow. So she finished, and, you know, I saw the effort she made going back into the ocean, you know. And I talked to her. I asked her who she was. She said she was Sarah Methuselah, Princess Longlife. She came from the Indian Ocean, and this was her last batch. And she told me that I had joined the circle of the turtle grandmothers that night. And it was a very powerful experience, needless to say. So that's the genesis of that poem.